Hey there, students. Mr. Carlson here. It's Monday, April 13th. Actually, it's Thursday, April 9th. But this video is for you for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. We're going to work on our outline. All right. So if you look here, just a couple things I'll point out here. Number one, if you don't have 10 out of 10 on your completed works cited page, you need to look at my comments. You need to keep fixing that. My expectation is that you get 10 out of 10. It's a work in progress. If you didn't do something right and I tell you need to fix it, watch the video that I put in there, fix what it is, resubmit it, and I'll keep grading that. I expect 10 out of 10 on here, all right? Whether it's later or not is besides the point. If you don't have good, strong quotations with correct documentation, your paper is going to be a moot point because you can't defend it. So it's really important. We have a lot of people that still need to work on this. Students have turned stuff in, which is awesome. I've responded back. And if it doesn't say 10 out of 10 and awesome or great job or nice, that means you got work to do. So please fix that, all right? We're going to focus on our persuasive essay outline. So there's a couple things to point out. If you click on your persuasive essay materials here, it'll bring you to my writing folder, all right? I don't want this. So it brings you to my writing folder. This is all the stuff for the year on there. If you click on the one that says Persuasive Essay PDF, this is what we started with back in the day. And it talks about how we're going to have an introduction. We're going to propose the opposing viewpoint. We're going to have our 3 body paragraphs for our main reasons. And then we're going to restate our opinion. And the big thing I want to point out is that you're going to have at least 2 emotional arguments. It says 1, but you're going to have 2 emotional arguments for each one. And then you're going to have 1 logical argument. And that logical argument is when you pull the quotation that you took and you put it in your paper. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go back here to this. You're going to click on 2020. Click on the one that says 2020 Persuasive Writing Outline. So here it is right here, 2020 Persuasive Writing Outline. You're going to make your own copy of this, all right? So you'll go to this, maybe. And click on File. I'll drink some coffee as waiting. So click on File here. Make your own copy. You click on that, make your own copy. And then I don't really want to make a copy here, but just change this to your name. So it's going to look something like mine right here. So it'll say your name. Mine's Mr. Carlson, obviously Mr. Carlson, 2020 Persuasive Writing Outline. So yours will be blank, and you're going to fill it in as you go along. So it starts, put your name there, put your period. It just helps me when I'm grading if I know a period, so it helps me align there. First thing you put in there is school uniforms, right? You put in whatever your topic is. More sidewalks. You don't have to write a complete sentence here. Just write it down as quick as you can, all right? The next thing you do is you're going to have a hook. A hook is you asking a question that 95 to 100% people can say yes to. So if I ask a question, if I say, do you like pizza from Domino's? You might get a 50% success rate because some people like Papa John's, Red Savoys, so on and so forth, right? If you ask a question, do you like chicken? I mean, there's probably 50% success rate. So our question needs to be asked where 95 to 100% of people are going to say yes to it. And obviously it needs to be about your topic. So you don't say like, do you ever wish you could wear the same thing every day? You're not going to get 100% success rate. I'm not going to talk about school uniforms here. I'm going to ask a question that people can say yes to, which proposes in a way how to be less stressed out. So for mine, are you ever stressed out when you wake up in the morning on getting ready for the day? I would tell you that 95, I'd say 100% of us sometime in our life have had a time where we've been stressed out. So if you write, some kids are going to write, are you ever just sick of the lunch options? If that's what your thesis statement is, that's not good. All right, your question should be, do you ever struggle I'll think like, so if you say something like, do you ever have a hard time when you do the exact same thing every day? Well, I don't know if you get 100% there, but do you ever struggle when things remain the same for a long time? I think that's what you think about lunch options, right? So here's mine, right? Are you ever stressed out when you wake up in the morning on getting ready for the day? So you write that. And I would encourage you as you listen to this, guys, I would pause the video. I would do your part, and then I'd continue on. So then you write your thesis statement. we already have this done. This shouldn't be something you have to think about. Woodbury High School should mandate that students wear school uniforms. This is what I've been talking about the entire time. It needs to be specific. The city of Woodbury needs to install more sidewalks. The city of Woodbury needs to, whatever it is, right? But you need to be specific in that part, right? And this is mine. And so then you just list your 3 reasons. You don't have to write them out. The complete sentences, just list them. Less stress, cheaper, less bullying. Those are my 3 topics I did my research on. That's what I'm going to put in there. So I go down to my second paragraph of my outline, my opposing viewpoint. So we have to be reflective here. When we can acknowledge the other side of the argument, it's going to validate our claim. So it means that we're thoughtful, that we've thought, oh, yeah, I can see where people may think this is a bad idea. I understand where you're coming from. But, and so here's mine, right? Some will say that school uniforms do not allow for students to express themselves. That's probably the number one thing that people talk about when they talk about school uniforms, that kids can't have an identity. I understand where you're coming from, right? So you write that. You write the counter argument. What's something that people could argue against with you? You acknowledge it, and then you kind of rebuke the claim. You give them a rebuttal in a nice way. You say, student, so for mine, it's some may say that school uniforms do not allow students to express themselves. My response to that, students can express themselves in other ways, like their hair, their shoes, and other ways. So you're going to write sentences there, right? So these 2, we have sentences. This one, I may have bold them. That'll help you out. The stuff I really want you to have in a sentence, all right? So we want that one in a sentence, that one, obviously this one right here, and then this one right here. So maybe if you see that's in bold, you know that you have to write a complete sentence there, right? That's the alarm, Kristen, for outside. Sorry, just talking to my wife as I'm teaching my lesson here. Okay, so we have that done. So now we're not really going to write another sentence for a while, right? So now we're going to come up with 3 reasons. So my first reason is less stress, right? That's what I talked about. So you give emotional responses. Emotional responses are things in your life that you can explain. So I'm going to say, school uniforms will allow for less stress in the family. A great example of that, and then you're going to give a personal example. You don't have to write it out. You just have to kind of list it so you know what you're going to write. But I would write, a great example of that is when I was in high school, I went to a military academy. At St. Thomas Academy, it was mandated that I wore a school uniform every day. One of the greatest things about that is I never had to worry about what I was going to wear in the morning. The time that I was most stressed out is when we had out of uniform days, because I had to make sure I wore, the trendy jabots, because that was cool. Tommy Hilfiger, those were the cool jeans back in 1999, 2000. All right, so that's my first emotional response. You got to have 2 of them. My second one, I'm going to talk about my own children. My own children wear school uniforms. I can't tell you how amazing that is. We never have an argument in the morning about what our kids are going to wear. Usually the only time we have arguments is when it's out of uniform day. Another great example of why I support school uniforms is that my own children wear school uniforms. I love this because it simplifies the issues in our family. We don't have to struggle with what the kids are going to wear in the morning. We don't have to worry about stuff matching. And it's pretty cool right now that kids have socks that don't match. So it's made that a lot easier for us. So there you go. So those are my 2 emotional responses. Then I'm going to put in my logical response. My logical response is already done. You're going to go to your works cited page. You're going to pull out the quote that you want to use, and you're just going to copy and paste it in there. All right. Whatever information that you want to use, you're not going to write like a 20 sentence quotation. Your quotation can be no more than 2 sentences. Preferably 1 is all we need. So I'm going to write, stress in teenage students impacts schoolwork, all right? I don't know. I mean, find that quote that defends your emotional response, that defends their. So I know I've looked at your works cited pages. Some of you guys have like these huge quotations, which is great, but you got to find that little part to take out of it. So there you have it. That's all you. So the emotional, the logical. All right. So I did not do my 4th or 5th example. I'm going to leave those to you to do. You'll just go through and do them. But at the end, on the 5th one, there's one more thing you have to put. All right. I'll pull this out here. This is where you have to write another complete sentence. All right. So you need to have a possible solution to your persuasive essay. What is it that you're proposing to make this work? For me, the easiest solution to this issue is to make Woodbury High School be a pilot school for the district beginning in the fall of 2021. That's my proposal. All right. When we talk about a possible solution, it makes our claim a lot easier. I can tell you that if I go to Miss Sorensen Wagner and if I just complain to her, she's not really going to appreciate the conversation. But if I go to Miss Sorensen Wagner and I have an issue, I say, Miss Sorensen Wagner is an issue that I have. I'm really not a big fan of this, but I have an idea on a way that we can make it better. What do you think? I know that she's going to be a lot more receptive to me because I'm not there just complaining. All right. So shows that you're thoughtful. Like even with my wife, like if I have an issue and if I just complain to her, well, she just tells me I'm an idiot. No, she doesn't tell me. Well, sometimes she does, but you know what I'm saying, right? But if I say, honey, I have an issue right now. Here's my issue. This is what I would like to do. What do you think about that? It definitely strengthens my argument, and I think it really helps out. So then you're going to do that, and then you're going to write your thesis statement pretty much in a different way. So you're not going to write the same thing, but it's pretty much going to be the same thing. Mine, mandating that school uniforms be worn at Woodbury High School is the right decision. All right. And then you just restate your 3 reasons. Less stress is cheaper and there's less bullying. So you get all that done, and then you're going to submit this the same way that you submitted your works cited page, your completed works cited page. You'll do the same. You have 3 days to do this. We're going to start this on Monday. If you have questions along the way, obviously, if you share your document with me, it's going to help it out, and I can explain that to you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're still working on your works cited page and you need help with that, please let me help you out. I get paid to help you guys from 7:30, well, usually like 8 o'clock, 8:30 to 3:30. I'm around. I can take messages. I can take phone calls. I can respond to you as quick as I can. And I just want to keep helping you do that so we can write a great persuasive essay. But the goal is that this needs to be done by Wednesday night. And the things that I put in bold here are the things that I expect you to have sentences on. Winnie, be quiet. Winnie, come here. Come here. You guys want to see my dog? Come here. Say hi, Winnie. What are you doing? Yeah, whatever. Okay. Have a good day, guys. I'll talk to you later.